We all have dreams, goals, and things we want to accomplish, but often the biggest challenge isn't lack of talent or opportunity, it's simply forcing ourselves to start, to push through, and to finish. Getting things done isn't about waiting for motivation to strike like lightning. Motivation is fleeting, it comes and goes. If you wait for motivation, you might wait forever. Instead, you must commit to action regardless of how you feel. Here's the truth. You don't always feel ready, you don't always feel inspired, but you can still choose to move forward. When you force yourself to take the first step, you break the inertia. You prove to yourself that progress is possible. And once progress starts, motivation often follows. But forcing yourself isn't about beating yourself up or working harder blindly. It's about building discipline. Discipline is the bridge between wanting and achieving. It's the daily decision to show up, to focus, and to do the work even when you'd rather do anything else. Remember, the greatest achievements come from consistent effort over time, not from sudden bursts of energy. So when you don't feel like it, do it anyway. When it's hard, push harder. When you want to quit, remind yourself why you started. The journey isn't always comfortable. Growth rarely is. But every time you force yourself to get things done, you're training your mind to overcome resistance, to embrace challenge, and to become the person capable of achieving what others only dream about. The secret isn't in waiting for motivation. It's in creating momentum. It's in the small wins, the repeated actions, the stubborn refusal to give up. So today, whatever you're facing, don't wait for the right moment. Don't wait to feel ready. Force yourself to get started. Force yourself to take that next step. Force yourself to finish. Because success isn't a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. And the choice to act, too often we fall into the trap of waiting for motivation to arrive before we start working on something important. We tell ourselves, I'll begin when I feel inspired, or I'll do it when I'm in the right mood. The problem with this mindset is that motivation is unpredictable. It's like trying to catch lightning in a bottle. It can be powerful when it strikes, but it's also fleeting, unreliable, and beyond your control. If you depend on motivation to get things done, you will often find yourself stuck, waiting for a feeling that may never come. The reality is that motivation isn't the cause of action, it's often the effect. When you take the first step and start working, motivation tends to follow. It grows from the momentum created by consistent effort. But to get to that momentum, you have to act first, whether you feel motivated or not. This means forcing yourself to begin even when the conditions aren't perfect, even when you don't feel ready. Think about the times you've accomplished something meaningful. Did you wait for motivation to start? Probably not. More likely, you pushed yourself to begin, sometimes feeling reluctant or tired, and then found that once you were moving, your energy and focus increased. Action creates clarity, momentum, and motivation. Waiting for motivation is often an excuse for procrastination. It's a way to justify inaction by convincing yourself that you need a particular mindset or emotional state before you can begin. But the truth is, motivation will never be a permanent state. It fluctuates based on countless external factors, your environment, your energy levels, even the weather. If you only act when motivated, you're giving up control over your own progress. Instead, choose to act regardless of your feelings. Force yourself to start with small, manageable steps. This doesn't mean forcing through burnout or ignoring your limits. It means recognizing that action is a skill you can develop. Like any skill, it gets easier and more natural the more you practice it. Taking action also changes your mindset. When you start working, your brain begins to release dopamine, the chemical that creates feelings of reward and pleasure. This neurological response reinforces the behavior, making you more likely to keep going. This is why small wins, just showing up and doing a little bit, can have an outsized impact on your motivation. Moreover, acting without waiting for motivation builds resilience. It trains your mind to overcome resistance and distractions. Every time you choose action over inaction, you strengthen your self-discipline and confidence. You prove to yourself that you don't need to wait for perfect conditions. You can create progress in spite of challenges. This approach applies to all areas of life: work, health, learning, creativity, and relationships. When you feel stuck, don't wait for a surge of enthusiasm. Instead, decide to take a small step forward. That might mean writing one sentence, making one phone call, doing one push-up, or reading one page. The size of the action isn't as important as the choice to act. Eventually, action becomes a habit. When you consistently choose to work, regardless of your mood, you build a rhythm of productivity. Your brain starts to associate work with progress and reward, making it easier to engage in the future. Remember, motivation is a spark, but action is the fire that keeps you moving forward. You can't rely on the spark alone, it's too unpredictable. But when you commit to action first, you fuel a steady fire that drives lasting success. In summary, the key to getting things done isn't waiting for motivation, it's forcing yourself to act. Motivation will follow action, not the other way around. The choice to start and keep going, even when you don't feel like it, is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't. So next time you feel stuck or unmotivated, remember, don't wait, take a step forward anyway, and watch how action creates the motivation you need to succeed. There is often a significant gap between where you are now and where you want to be. You might have big dreams, clear goals, and even the skills needed to succeed, but somehow the distance between intention and achievement remains wide. That gap doesn't close on its own. It's discipline that builds the bridge, connecting your ambitions to your reality. Discipline is not about punishment or harsh self-control. It's a commitment, a steady, deliberate choice to do what needs to be done, even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. Discipline is the daily practice of prioritizing long-term goals over short-term gratification. It's the foundation that transforms ideas into results. People underestimate how important discipline really is. They believe that success comes from bursts of inspiration or rare moments of genius. While inspiration can spark an idea, it's discipline that sustains the work required to bring that idea to life. Without discipline, good intentions become forgotten plans. Without discipline, dreams stay just that, dreams. Discipline bridges the gap because it creates consistency. When you're disciplined, you show up every day with a purpose. Even when progress feels slow, even when obstacles arise, discipline keeps you moving forward. It turns small, consistent actions into powerful momentum. Over time, this momentum transforms your efforts into accomplishments. One of the most powerful things about discipline is that it doesn't rely on motivation. Motivation is unpredictable. It can be high one day and non-existent the next. Discipline doesn't depend on feelings. It's a choice you make regardless of how you feel in the moment. You build discipline by setting routines, creating habits, and sticking to them no matter what. Imagine someone who wants to get in shape. They might feel motivated after watching a fitness video or after a health scare. But that motivation alone won't change their body. What changes their body is discipline. The decision to work out regularly, eat well, and rest properly. The person who builds discipline creates a structure that supports their goal even on days they don't feel like it. Discipline also sharpens focus. When you commit to discipline, you learn to avoid distractions and to direct your energy toward what truly matters. This focused effort accelerates progress because you're not wasting time or energy on things that don't align with your purpose. But the beauty of discipline is that it compounds over time. Just like saving money or planting seeds, each disciplined action adds up. Some days, your progress might be barely noticeable. But over weeks, months, and years, discipline leads to extraordinary results. It's also important to remember that discipline is a skill, one that can be developed and strengthened. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Discipline means choosing to get back on track every time you fall off. It's forgiving yourself, learning from mistakes, and recommitting to the process. In life, the gap between where you are and where you want to be can seem overwhelming. But discipline gives you a reliable path forward. It's the bridge you cross every day through your actions and choices. Ultimately, discipline turns potential into reality. It converts dreams into plans, plans into habits, and habits into success. When you cultivate discipline, you build the resilience and perseverance necessary to reach your goals, no matter how big or difficult they seem. So if you want to close the gap between your present and your future, start with discipline. Create the routines, make the choices, and commit to the process. With discipline as your bridge, you'll find that no goal is too far, no challenge too great. The path to success is built one disciplined step at a time. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces you can harness on your journey to success. Yet many people believe momentum is something that just happens naturally when everything falls perfectly into place. The truth is, momentum doesn't come from giant leaps or overnight transformations. It comes from small wins, repeated consistently over time. Small wins are the tiny victories you achieve each day. They might seem insignificant on their own, writing one paragraph, making one phone call, completing a single workout, or finishing a small task on your to-do list. But these small wins are the building blocks of momentum. Each one creates a sense of accomplishment, builds confidence, and pushes you just a little bit further along your path. When you start with small wins, you create a positive feedback loop. Achieving something, no matter how small, releases dopamine in your brain. This chemical makes you feel good and motivates you to repeat the behavior. In other words, small wins spark a cycle of motivation that encourages you to keep moving forward. The beauty of focusing on small wins is that they make big goals feel manageable. When you look at a huge project or a long-term goal, it can feel overwhelming, and that overwhelm often leads to procrastination. But by breaking your goal into smaller, achievable tasks, you give yourself clear, actionable steps. Each completed task is a small win, and each small win brings you closer to your ultimate goal. Momentum built from small wins is also resilient. Big bursts of effort can lead to burnout or loss of motivation if results don't come quickly, but small, steady wins create a sustainable pace. You build endurance and discipline that can carry you through difficult phases when motivation is low or challenges arise. Another important aspect of small wins is that they build your identity and mindset. Each time you achieve a small goal, you reinforce the belief that you are capable and competent. Over time, this shapes how you see yourself and what you believe you can accomplish. Momentum becomes more than just external progress. It becomes an internal shift in confidence and self-belief. It's also worth noting that small wins improve your decision-making and focus. When you celebrate progress, you gain clarity about what works and what doesn't. This clarity helps you prioritize your efforts better and adjust your strategies. Instead of wasting energy on things that don't move you forward, you concentrate on what creates real results. Small wins don't have to be complicated. They can be as simple as waking up 15 minutes earlier, sending that email you've been avoiding, or taking a moment to plan your day. The key is consistency. Repeated small wins build up over time until they create unstoppable momentum. When you feel stuck or overwhelmed, remind yourself that progress is not always about giant breakthroughs. Sometimes it's about showing up, doing the next right thing, and collecting small wins. Those small wins add up. They become the force that propels you forward. In fact, many successful people attribute their achievements not to sudden inspiration or massive changes, but to a steady series of small, intentional actions. They understand that success is a marathon, not a sprint. The consistent accumulation of small wins creates a rhythm that sustains them through challenges and setbacks. So if you're facing a daunting goal or feeling unmotivated, focus on small wins. Break your tasks into bite-sized pieces. Celebrate each victory, no matter how small. Let those wins build your momentum, confidence, and belief that you can achieve what you set out to do. Momentum from small wins turns the impossible into the possible. It takes you from stuck to moving forward. And most importantly, it transforms your journey from overwhelming to achievable, one small win at a time. Resistance is one of the biggest obstacles standing between you and your goals. It shows up in many forms: procrastination, self-doubt, distractions, fear, or simply feeling tired and unmotivated. Resistance is that invisible force pulling you away from progress, trying to keep you stuck in your comfort zone. But the key to growth and success lies in learning how to overcome resistance, not avoid it. The first step to overcoming resistance is understanding that it's natural. Everyone faces resistance at some point. It's not a sign of weakness or failure. It's a sign that you are pushing beyond your limits and challenging yourself. Resistance is often the signal that you are about to grow, that you are moving into unfamiliar territory where real change happens. Resistance thrives on hesitation and doubt. It whispers lies. You're not ready. It's too hard. You might fail. These voices come from your brain's desire to protect you from discomfort and risk. But growth requires discomfort. When you face resistance, you are confronting the very barriers that separate where you are now from where you want to be. To overcome resistance, you have to be willing to move forward despite these internal obstacles. This starts with mindset. Instead of fearing resistance, learn to expect it, anticipate that discomfort will arise, and prepare yourself mentally to push through it. When resistance shows up, recognize it for what it is, a natural part of the process, not a permanent roadblock. One effective way to overcome resistance is to break your work into smaller, manageable tasks. When a goal feels overwhelming, resistance grows stronger. But by focusing on one small step at a time, you reduce the power resistance has over you. Small actions build momentum, and momentum weakens resistance. Another important strategy is to create structure and routines. When you have a clear plan and a schedule, it's easier to act even when resistance tries to stop you. Discipline takes the emotion out of the equation. You don't rely on motivation, you rely on your commitment to the routine. Over time, this habitual action makes resistance less daunting. Accountability also plays a vital role. Sharing your goals with someone else or working alongside others can help you push through resistance. When someone else is counting on you or watching your progress, you're less likely to give in to hesitation or procrastination. Accountability creates external pressure that complements your internal drive. It's important to acknowledge that overcoming resistance doesn't mean you won't feel fear or doubt. Those feelings may never fully disappear. The difference is that you learn to act in spite of them. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's choosing to take action even when fear is present. At times, resistance might come from deeper sources, limiting beliefs or past failures that have shaped your mindset. Overcoming resistance then becomes a process of self-reflection and growth. You identify these mental blocks, challenge their validity, and replace them with empowering beliefs that support your goals. Remember, resistance often arises just before a breakthrough. When you feel stuck or overwhelmed, it might mean you are on the edge of something important. That moment is an opportunity to build resilience and prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort and uncertainty. Now, consistently overcoming resistance, you develop mental toughness and discipline. You strengthen your ability to stay focused and committed no matter what challenges arise. This inner strength is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who give up too soon. Ultimately, overcoming resistance is about making a choice, choosing action over hesitation, courage over fear, persistence over quitting. It's a daily practice of pushing yourself beyond what feels easy or comfortable. So next time resistance appears, don't back down. Lean into it. Face it head on with the confidence that this struggle is a sign you are growing. Take that step, however small, and keep moving forward. Each time you overcome resistance, you get stronger, more confident, and closer to the life you want to create. One of the most overlooked keys to success is the commitment to the process. It's easy to focus only on the end goal, the prize, the achievement, the moment of success. But what separates those who succeed from those who don't is the willingness to commit to the journey, day after day, step by step. Committing to the process means embracing the work itself, not just the outcome. It means showing up consistently even when progress feels slow or invisible. It means understanding that success is rarely a sudden event. It's the result of countless small efforts accumulated over time. Many people fall into the trap of wanting quick results. They expect change to happen overnight or for success to be immediate. When reality doesn't meet these expectations, frustration sets in and they give up. But commitment to the process requires patience and persistence. It requires the understanding that growth takes time. And the work you do today builds the foundation for your future. When you commit to the process, you shift your focus from instant gratification to long-term progress. You stop being discouraged by setbacks because you see them as part of the journey, not as signs of failure. You learn to appreciate the daily habits, the discipline, and the effort that eventually lead to breakthroughs. Committing to the process also means accepting discomfort. The path to growth is rarely easy or comfortable. There will be challenges, obstacles, and moments of doubt. But when you're committed to the process, you don't shy away from these difficulties. You face them head on, knowing they are necessary for your development. Another important aspect of committing to the process is letting go of perfectionism. Waiting for perfect conditions, perfect timing, or perfect results can paralyze your progress. The process is messy, imperfect, and unpredictable. But when you commit, you accept the imperfections and keep moving forward anyway. Committing to the process is about building resilience. It's about developing the mental toughness to keep going when motivation fades and obstacles arise. It's about trusting that every small effort, every choice to persist brings you closer to your goal. This kind of commitment also transforms your mindset. Instead of focusing solely on the destination, you begin to value the journey itself, the learning, the growth, the daily victories. This mindset change makes the work more meaningful and fulfilling, which in turn fuels your motivation to continue. In practical terms, committing to the process means creating systems and routines that support your goals. It means prioritizing your daily actions and making consistent progress a non-negotiable part of your life. When you build these habits, the process becomes automatic, and success becomes inevitable. It's important to remember that commitment to the process doesn't mean blind persistence. It also involves reflection and adjustment. As you progress, you evaluate what's working and what's not, and you adapt accordingly. Commitment is about steady progress, not stubbornness. Ultimately, the commitment to the process is what transforms potential into reality. It bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. When you commit to showing up and doing the work every day, no matter how small, you create a path toward lasting success. So if you want to achieve your goals, don't just dream about the outcome. Commit fully to the process, the daily effort, the discipline, the persistence. Embrace the journey with all its ups and downs. Because in the end, it's your commitment to the process that will determine how far you go. Every day you are faced with countless decisions, some big, some small. Yet the most powerful decisions you make aren't the automatic ones. They're the conscious choices.